Call Me Unstoppable, episode 15 on All Mavens branded podcast. I'm John Beethan, your host of Branded, the podcast brought to you by the Crazies at All Maven, a full-service digital marketing agency located in Southern California. And we're all about things branding and a whole lot more. Now, sometimes you don't need to have a conversation with a company about branding when you're talking with a brand that is their brand. And such is the case today with the conversation I had with Logan and Anna from Call Me Unstoppable. They are unstoppable in every way, in what they do, say, and how they help their clients. So now, let's just let the episode speak for itself. Welcome, Logan and Anna. They are from Call Me Unstoppable. And in my previous conversations with them, I found that to be absolutely true. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. No, this is great. We met at one of Mary Kravitz's infamous Watch Us Thrive. You're right?
Infamous in a good way.
Yeah. I think I met Logan. Anna, I don't think you were there. Were you on that one?
No. Because Logan is the mixer.
Yeah.
I'm the front of the house.
I'm at the front of the house. I'm actually looking at callmeunstoppable.com, which is everybody's going to want to go. This is a beautiful website, mainly because it's beautiful because it is so well articulated. Editorial content is awesome. So it's like, just so everybody out there knows, Logan is called the Coach and Possibility Generator.
That's me.
We're going to talk about that. And then Anna's called the Peer Support Specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because I've been there. I am a peer.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what Call Me Unstoppable is all about. And I'd like to go ahead and have you each introduce yourself as you would like to be known in the podosphere.
As we would like to be known. You want to go first, Anna?
No, you go first.
Okay. So I am Logan Reed. I am a coach and trainer. I am one half of the Unstoppable Sisters. We are indeed sisters. And how do I want to be known? I am a coach in private practice for about 10 years, a former corporate gal in human resources, and left in 2010 and opened up Logan Reed Coaching. And then we opened Call Me Unstoppable in 2018. And I want to be known as a coach who shows women how to live their best lives by getting results faster, bigger, and easier. No more hard work.
Yeah, my limited time with you both, I know that's absolutely true. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And I'm Anna. I'm the older Unstoppable sister. And I'm the peer support specialist because I come from an entrepreneurial background. But I have gone through everything that the coachee needs to go through. And I'm more of the creative side. Logan is more of the, she comes from, like she said, the corporate background. So she is sort of the connect the dots person. And I'm the kind of find more dots person.
Great teamwork.
Oh, I like that.
Logan, you haven't heard that
one,
before? Anna? Logan, you hadn't heard that from Anna before?
Connecting the dots and creating dots? No, I love it. This is why she's the creative one.
I know. Well,
She's proved it.
We were trying to get you on because you were having earphone issues and stuff. Anna and I were talking. She kind of explained the whole thing, that you have each other's backs so well.
We do. It's a cool thing. It was never it was in the cards, but it was never in the plan. It was never something we had talked about partnering on a professional level. And it's just been incredible how it's unfolded. We're so blessed. Well,
I got to tell you, when I first met you guys and you told me what your business name was, Call Me Unstoppable, I was immediately reminded of something on, I don't remember, Netflix or something called Unbreakable Kimmy.
Oh, yes.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. And our conversation's about as humorous too.
Yeah.
It should be fun. I mean, that's like when Logan said,
"Thank you."
But bigger results, faster, easier. It should be fun. You should be able to laugh even when you're doing the hard work.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit what Call Me Unstoppable does.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you've talked about individually what you do, but I mean, looking at your website, it's pretty darn obvious. that, really, you curate and, there's a take the quiz. And it's like when you go to the quiz, it's like, what kind of unstoppable are you? So how do you work with that when you're working with clients? Do you actually ask people to ask that question? What kind of unstoppable person are you? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I'll start, Anna, if that works for you. So one of our basic premises is that every woman is unstoppable. We just forget it. Mm-hmm. And particularly when we're working really hard and are stressed and are trying to make sure that everything is handled in our world and everybody else's world, we forget that we are innately unstoppable. So our work does start there. We work with the Trifecta of Unstoppable, which is the alignment of your heart set, mindset, and skill set. And it always, always, always starts with your heart set. So to answer your question, we don't necessarily start with the quiz. Like the quiz is intended for folks to be able to go to the website and get excited about their kind of unstoppable, because every kind of unstoppable has some really cool attributes and some potential downsides. So it gives insight into that. So women know where to start, right? Like it just starts explaining why they might feel stuck in their life. But when we're working, whether it's in the online program, individual coaching, group coaching, or online events, it always starts with the heart set, because that's your inner guidance, your knowing, and at least for me, most importantly, that is your power and ferocity. Yeah. Like it's not just this sort of squishy navel gazing kind of thing, but that's where you're really going to find your gumption and power to do the things that are outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Would you agree that it's also most easily accessed?
When we practice it. So we would posit that a lot of us are disconnected from our heart set because we're gifted a script, we're gifted a way of doing life when we come into this world from our family of origin, our socioeconomic, our gender, our education, our religion, all the things that go in kind of map out what we're supposed to do. And a lot of times that doesn't align with our heart set and who we truly are, but it's so deeply ingrained and embedded and assumed. We might not even understand that there's another way to do life, that we're just off running in that script, and it never fulfills us. Mm-hmm. It never gets us.
It's a program. And I would take it a step further. Yeah. You said some people, but I would say most people.
Yes.
I mean, it's rare to find somebody that truly from the beginning works from the inside out.
Right. Yeah. We're not taught to. We're not. It's not cultivated. So. And the good news is once you know how to, and once that's the foundation of how you're approaching everything, whether it's your career or your family or parenting or loving your body, it is incredibly easy to access. Like and trust, also learning to trust that inner guidance over everything else that's coming in. Yeah.
Anna, I know you have something to say.
Yeah, Anna.
Well, I was going to say too, I think that's true for most people, male and female. When we talk about women, too, I should say we're talking about anyone who identifies as female. So it includes trans women and gender fluid. It's not just biological women. But when we talk about women and they're being diverted from their heart set, their heart's path, there are so many things that are expected of women in our society that get layered on top of what we feel we want to do, that's a really easy way to forget where our heart is. And it's legitimate. I mean, we do care for other people and we do kind of keep everything going, but that can get in the way of remembering, oh, wait, who am I? And what is my heart telling me?
Mm-hmm. So you're, I'm imagining COVID, you're probably doing a whole lot of online things, huh?
Yeah. It's been kind of wonderful, actually, I would say. Wouldn't you, Anna? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You could not have predicted that we would have mastered Zoom. I wouldn't say we mastered Zoom. You would not have predicted we would have been able to manage Zoom at all. So that's a huge victory.
Yeah. I work with a company, really fabulous company called Relationship by Design. And Sandy and Lon are in their late 70s, early 80s. And travel about 12 workshops a year throughout the country and sometimes in Europe. And It's a fabulous program. They know more about relationship than anybody I've ever met. I mean, it's worth checking out. And I guess that was like a spot, but here you go. So But they came to me because I do all their stuff, their IT work and the website and stuff. And they said, is there any way we can do this online? I said, there sure is. And 2 weeks later, we pivoted the whole thing from, 12 workshops or whatever it was to virtual online. And they were not sure it was going to work because, relationships are really important to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it should be or could be for a lot of people. But it worked, and it has worked really well, and they're not going back to it. There's no more more airlines. There's no more hotel. There's none of that stuff at all. So they were able to increase their bottom line and actually reduce the cost of the workshops by doing them online.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Not to be Pollyanna about it, and there's nothing good about when bad things happen, but there is also a way to find some positive results. In, for example, COVID, there are things that we have learned we would never have learned otherwise.
Yep.
And that's that's a really important thing to remember.
Yeah. Well, for me, when this thing started, when the pandemic started, and was largely in March, and I looked at all the data and the administration and everything else, I thought, be prepared for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I've rolled. And also it's just like, what are the opportunities here, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I always say that everything is useful when we're ready to allow it to be. Even the hardest things I've gone through in my life, losing our mother, that was the catalyst for leaving my career. I won't put any adjectives. Leaving my career and becoming a coach, which I never would have done, I don't think. And my life was on a really bad trajectory personally. It was great career-wise. But once you can acknowledge and be with what is actually happening, then you can be a possibility generator and look at what the potential is. Mm-hmm.
And Logan likes to say it does not take, or it shouldn't have to take a death or a diagnosis or that's often what it takes is some sort of earth-shaking, world-shattering occurrence, like our mother's death, but it doesn't have to. You can access that huge change in other easier ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I call these. Go ahead, Logan. No,
I was just going to say we're trying to get to women and to people earlier in that, right? So that we're not waiting for something to happen.
You've already answered the question, but I often ask people, give me one defining moment in your life or lives where everything changed. So that was pretty much it.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Yeah, it was devastating.
It actually, before she died, our mother was ill for a year and a half, and it started where we both lived out of state at the time, away from our mom, and we were in contact with her by email at least every day, and we hadn't heard from her for a day and a half. And ultimately, we did a welfare check, had the sheriff here go by, and she had a seizure. She was on the ground, and that was the beginning of the end, kind of. And that day for me is the pivotal day when Logan and I had to come together in a way we never had before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah.
So it's like the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing. It's a defining moment for everybody in this country and in other countries
in the world
as well.
Yes.
It's like, how are you going to deal with this?
And it's one of the amazing things. One of the positive things, or the things that feel positive to me, is that right now in the world, we're all experiencing the same thing at the same time in different ways. But I feel connected to people around the world in a really intimate way that I never would have before. It's an kind of uncanny feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started, I initiated family Zoom calls when the whole thing got started. And I have family in Boston I never met, or I met but never really got to know. And I have family in Paris that I never really got to know. So it's deepened my relationships with people,
That's beautiful, right? Which seems so counterintuitive when you're saying like, well, it'll all be digital, it'll all be online. Like, well, it actually can be really amazing.
Yeah. What are you seeing in your business, your coaching business with people? Are you starting to see a lot of people come to you, and I'm assuming mostly women? Do you actually work with any men?
I do. In private practice, I do. So actually, do you want to take this, Anna, and talk about...
Oh, no, go ahead. You start now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So on the individual coaching side, what I'm noticing actually is first and foremost, just in my mind this week, is how much the first work to be done is around well-being. What women or men, I don't care, what we thought of as success no longer applies. And there's a lot of grief out there that people had plans, people had businesses, people had family reunions, like everything that we thought was going to happen in 2020 just got taken away. Like with no explanation, no care, it's just taken away, it's gone. And so there's a lot of grieving that's going on. In my experience, people's ability to look at what's next is brought way closer in. We're not talking a year out anymore. We're not talking 3-year visions. We're talking 3 months. How do I get through this school year when I don't know if the kids are going to be there in person or at home? And do I want them, which do I want? Like the decisions that people are being asked to make and how they're being required to manage their lives and still create some possibility and some happy things and fulfillment is a really different conversation. And tracking it back a lot of times right now, it starts with well-being, taking care of yourself. I was talking with a woman who has thyroid issues and was furloughed. Life was great. She was actually having a great time because she has a side business and was really enjoying that. Bummer, she got called back and noticed she's been having many more physical symptoms since she got called back. Did not connect those dots, a la Anna, until we had a coaching conversation. And she could see, oh my gosh, this all started in June. So we're not talking about her business right now. We're talking about her well-being and taking care of herself and the impact that her work is having on her health. And what does she want to do with that?
That's great.
And when her well-being is handled, now we can look at other things. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. And it's very much present for me because it's worrisome. Like I worry for people because we're trained to just keep working, keep taking care of the kids, keep managing everything that we need to manage. And without that foundation of well-being, there's nothing to draw on, and it's a finite resource. Whereas sourcing yourself, I always say, like your Heartset, the coolest thing about your Heartset is it's a renewable resource. It is endless if you tend to it.
And I would say women in general are not that great at self-care anyway. We tend to be viewed as selfish, to put our needs first at times, or to concentrate on the things that we need for our own well-being. And so that's under good circumstances. And under the current circumstances, our bar, we still set the bar really high, that everything is supposed to be running the way it should. And under these circumstances, that's just not possible. So if you combine our lack of ability or experience taking care of ourselves in a meaningful way with what's going on now, it really is, like Logan said, it's worrisome.
Yeah. We did a live virtual event 2 weeks ago, and it was an hour over 3 nights. It was called the Heartset Reset, and it ended on the new moon and setting a new moon intention. And I think the biggest thing that I noticed, tell me what you saw, Anna, was women being able to take just an hour, that's a manageable amount, but to slow down, take care of themselves, be focused and supported and guided in reconnecting with their heart set so that they can even begin to look at creating, in this case, a new moon intention, recreating what's next. But just setting somebody, giving you permission to take that time and telling you, like, we got it. You lay back, sit back, lay back, however you want to do it. And we'll walk you through how to reconnect with yourself in a really gentle, powerful way with some laughter.
Yeah.
Anna, I thought you might chime in on this one.
I didn't want to, I feel like I don't want to talk over Logan. We talk over each other all the time. So I'm trying
to. That's fine. We could do that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Everybody talk at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. In that event, it was, the funny thing was I felt it too. When we do live events, live virtual events, we're doing the same stuff that the women are who are in the audience. And so as we were doing the deep breathing, and we had a yogini doing yoga and breath work, and I felt myself like, wow, now we get to slow down. I mean, we are walking the walk. We have to do the same thing ourselves. We have times where we're not taking good care of ourselves, or as attending to our well-being as much as we could. And so I think that's part of why it feels so visceral, is that when I start feeling really anxious and panicky, I know what that's like, and it's debilitating and it's unnecessary.
Right.
But here's been my experience, because I spend quite a bit of time on Zoom. It happens often where I'll be on a call with somebody and with a woman, and the kids are there, and the kids are like making noise and stuff like that, and then she'll start apologizing, and I say, you just, please stop.
Right?
We're in a pandemic. You're forced to work at home, not the office, and you know what? We just need to be compassionate and gentle and understanding with each other,
Yeah.
So so I tell people that it's just really important. Everything, everything's changed. So it's just not a problem. And then I catch myself because I'm kind of like you guys. How do I say this? There's a part of me that's a real caregiver. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like yesterday afternoon. Now understand, I start at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. So basically, I can be done by 3 and not feel guilty about it, right? So, but it's always a struggle. So yesterday, I just found myself going, just take some time, just go for a walk.
Yes.
And I really felt the need to be around people because I do live by myself, and so I simply just went down to my favorite Starbucks, masked and all the rest of it, and just grabbed a favorite coffee of mine and a blueberry scone. I'll give you the address at the end of the show where you can send your blueberry scones because I love them. And I just sat outside and just enjoyed the coffee, the blueberry scone, the people walking by, waving at them, a few conversations. But it was just like everybody needs – you said it earlier, I think. I don't remember who said it, but it's just like slow down.
Yeah.
Feel what's going on in your body. And the other thing is I'm really aware of, and I became aware of about a month ago, is people are not talking about how they are feeling in this. The grief that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you? I'm just curious. You see that a lot, or hear that a lot? I should say.
That people aren't talking about what's going on?
Yeah, people aren't talking, and you sort of. Yeah. You guys, you're skilled, so you can tell when there's something there that people aren't talking about, I'm imagining. Maybe it's my hallucination, but...
No, I think for women in particular, I think we tend to fake it. And we're in the Facebook world, we're in the Instagram world where we fake it. And that takes a toll. So I think this is part of the beauty of our work and the power of our work, because like you, we are caregivers, and it's about being of service and creating a space and a platform where women can come and be held and have those conversations and normalize it and say like, oh my God, you too? Because that's the first step in I don't want to say healing, but the first step in creating a different way of doing it is dropping that facade or just even the grit. Like that would have been me back in the day, right? Like I'm just going to keep plowing through. I don't have time for this and that. We all have our different flavor of doing it. But I think offering that conversation, for us, it's as a coach and peer support specialist, but sitting at Starbucks.
Yeah.
I was taking a walk a few weeks ago and a neighbor was out doing yard work and I could tell she had tears in her eyes, and I just stopped and I said, "Are you okay?" And we had a conversation. She was not okay. She can't see her grandbabies. It's just those human to human moments and making it really okay. That is one of the beautiful things that we can do right now in this world, I think.
Yeah, and it's part of the connectivity during COVID. It means that you can do that with people you never would otherwise. So we can have one of the first events we did virtually after the pandemic started was when we had planned to be live in person here in Olympia, Washington, where we are. We had it all set up. It was really going to be cool. And then said, maybe in a month, now we're not going to be able to do it. So we ended up doing it virtually, and it actually felt more intimate to me because it was people from all over the country. It would have been people that were essentially our neighbors, which would be great if it had been live in person. But this way it was people that we would not have talked to otherwise, truly. And it felt like they were all connecting with one another, because that's also one of our really deep-seated beliefs, is that everything is based on relationships and connecting with other people. Right. And we can do that this way. It does not have to be in person. And if we can do it more now, all the better. Yeah.
So short story, if I may. When this whole thing started and I was working with Lon and Sandy at Relationship by Design, Lon just said one day, this whole thing of social distancing, that's not right. It's actually physical distancing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
nice distinction.
Yeah, and I like to remind people that no, not social distancing, physical distancing. And then what came out of that for me, because I often wake up in the mornings with an aha, which I just love. And so the aha was that relationship and connection is the vaccine against isolation.
Oh.
So then I just started talking with people. I'd pick up the phone. And, I tell people what I've been doing lately is telling people is don't have the thought and wait till Saturday to pick up the phone or text or call or whatever it is you're going to do.
Right.
Do it in that moment when the power of connection really exists because they're fully in you at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a gift you give to the other person. I accidentally called someone. I thought I was calling somebody else, and I did the wrong number by saying. So I got this friend I hadn't talked to in a million years, and he was like, Anna! And I didn't have the guts to tell him I called you by accident.
Hey,
it was a wonderful conversation. I thought, why wasn't I calling him? That is weird. Like I haven't talked to him in a long time. Yeah. So
well, you were calling him. Are you kidding?
Exactly. It was meant to happen that way, and just the hearing how happy he was to hear from me made me realize that it's not just something you're doing to make yourself feel connected. It's a gift to all the people who care about you.
Yep.
To hear from you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the cool things that happened, because we used to do a lot of speaking and in-person events, and of course, like that got not taken away, that went away. And one of the really cool things that came out of it is racial justice is big in our mission. It is part of our mission. And one of the things that we decided to do, because we had free time now, was to create these summits. I just wanted to touch on it because Anna had mentioned them, where we invited Black, Indigenous women of color to come and speak to our audience, which organically is about 40% BIPOC. So it allowed us to meet our mission in a better way.
Yeah.
Because we had to. And sitting there and just like, what is the potential here? Oh my gosh. So creating those relationships with Black and Indigenous women of color who have so much to offer, mental health counselors, our yogini, who we have those relationships with now, and supporting other women and creating that platform where women can come and, especially for those, just sit and listen and do some deep breathing and some visualizations and get some mental health tips. Is incredibly powerful. I don't know that we ever would have thought of that outside of COVID.
It would have seemed impractical to me, which now it's actually very practical, but it would have felt impractical. Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you have any desire to go back to normal?
Oh, normal.
Oh, so many questions just for that word. Yes. I really enjoy in-person speaking and presenting because there's that synergy. There's an energy exchange. And I was checking myself because we found that with our live event, there was that same energy exchange. It just felt a little different. So I would add in, but I wouldn't take anything out.
I agree. I would not stop doing what we've been doing since COVID. I would just like to see people in person as well.
Yeah. I've been mulling this one over. So it's like, from my perspective, what you just said, it's not about going back to 100% normal the way it was. That's not going to happen. It's just like, what do I want to put back into normal?
Yes. Yeah.
Just take it easy. It's like I miss those interactions. I love music and spend a lot of time with music, and I have musician friends and stuff. And it's like I haven't seen Peggy and Ron since the beginning, and there's health issues there, so we're not seeing each other. But we used to get together every now and then, and they have a really nice jazz quartet or trio, and they'd play once a month at a local La Costa Roasters here on the first Friday of the month. I mean, all of that temporarily is gone. I really, really miss it. Yeah. So here's what happened for me is that, like, every couple of weeks, I go for walks at night. I go for walks a lot. And I go for walks at night, and the people across the street, I hear this jazz piano and these drums. And it's like, is that stereo, or is that, is it real, or is it Memorex,
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Live or Memorex, right. So it's like live. So I'm standing out on the sidewalk just listening to it. And I've been here 2.5 years where I'm living, and I've never met these people. So the other day this woman was out there, and I introduced myself, and she said, "Hi, I'm Elizabeth," and I said, "Would you? I don't know who's playing the music." "Well, my husband. He's a professional pianist." "Oh my God, really? So he's great. Please tell him how much I really enjoy it." So then yesterday, I'm out taking the garbage out, and so is he, and I just walked over to him across the street and introduced myself. And this guy turns out to be really well known. And
wow, I love it.
Yeah, and it's just like, I just want to say how much I just really enjoy whatever it is you're doing,
Yeah.
And an hour later, I went back to what I was doing. So that, I expected it to be a few minutes, turned into an hour, and it was a fabulous conversation and connection.
Yeah. And you never know. I love that. You never know who your neighbor is.
I know.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. So before we get too far away from things, could we talk about some of your workshop classes online, everything that you have to offer? And I'll tell you why, everything, because, I'm just totally convinced anybody that's listening to this would benefit from engaging with you. And what's the easiest way to just get a little bite of what's going on, or what is it that you have to offer that what's on the menu?
An amuse-bouche, if you will. You want to take that, Anna?
I was going to say, we have, starting at the easiest, most accessible, we have free downloads on our website. Mm-hmm. Those are things we've created that are, obviously, they're free. They're accessible to anyone who can download them.
Uh-huh. What kind of things?
Oh, we have practices, self-care practices, worksheets to help with those practices. So it's things that we have provided in workshops and things that we're putting out there so that people don't have to take the workshop to have the tool. Go ahead, Logan.
I just want to put in one that might be of interest to your audience, particularly right now, and given what we're talking about, is the Mother's Love visualization meditation that is about extending a mother's love to yourself anytime that you need it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, things like that, practices, and some of them are things like visualization. So those are free. We have some things in the store also that are recordings of previous summits and webinars that we've done, and also in ebook form. We have some things coming up. Nurture. Yeah, Nourish and Nurture is the one that we did. I think that wasn't the first one, but it was one of the first ones. I can't remember. But so we've done those kinds of workshops that are available, the replay. And then we have some stuff coming up. We have a coming up section on the website that talks about where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing.
Our marquee.
Right. And so we continue to do these, we call them the Heartset Reset, and there's a different theme each time. The one we did last month was New Moon, and it was past, present, future, releasing what didn't serve you in the past, connecting with the present, and then beginning to create the future. Yeah. And we're doing something similar in January for the new year.
But just my perception of you guys is phenomenal. I mean, that's not my perception, but what I really mean to say is you present.
That's hard, cold fact. Well, Hang on.
There's a lot of people out there kind of doing this quote unquote new age thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you are doing a similar thing, but it's presented in a completely different way. And I wonder if we could talk a little bit about that, because it's really important, because I mean, I've kind of had it around here. There's a lot of yoga teachers. People have been they started taking yoga. 6 months later, they're teaching it.
Right.
Wrong. They're hurting people. Wrong. It's there's no certification going on for any of that kind of stuff. And obviously, you guys are really well trained and have a lot of experience and stuff. But let's talk a little bit about the difference that you.
Thank you. Yes. May I take this, Anna? Because I am really passionate about this one.
Say.
Coaching is the yoga of COVID, kind of. It's sort of anybody can coach. I'm a coach. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, yes, I have credentials. I'm a PCC certified coach. I'm a conversational intelligence coach. I have papers.
You have letters, huh?
I know. I got letters, people. And I feel one of the power and the beauty of our work is it is the spiritual. It is everything starts with your heart set. It is tapping into your innate intelligence and brilliance and beauty and all that great stuff. And it is practical, because I am a type A woman. I am a businesswoman. And until you have the tools and build the skills to be able to access your Heartset, and be a possibility generator, because your brain, my brain, is always going to get in the way. It's always going to want to stop us. That's just
Monkey
what it
mind.
does. Yeah. It's its job is to keep us where we are. So until we have the coaching tools and the things that we've created, the possibility arc, the possibility generator worksheet, the mindset buster worksheet, all of those things in combination with you and your innate gifts and power and joy, that's where the magic comes in. So it's very much our work. In addition to the live events, I do individual coaching, and then we have Unstoppable You, which is our online program with group coaching that is all our original content, which takes that airy fairy, and I was like, you got to tether the dream to the ground in reality. And we have aspiration mapping that walks through, how is this going to happen? How are you going to make it happen in ways that are connected to your Heartset? Not from grit, not from hard work, not from exhaustion, not from adding one more thing in, but in ways that feel really beautiful and powerful. And our assertion is, once you learn these skills, now you can apply them anywhere in your world that you want to. So we always say, no aspiration too small, no aspiration too big. Work with an aspiration, use our tools, and then you will have the body knowledge so that you can apply it to anything else that your little heart desires in your world, in perpetuity. I get excited.
You have to have a plan. And we definitely are both really practical. You have to have a plan. You can't just walk out feeling great, feeling groovy. You got to have a way to channel that towards something that you can see, that you can achieve. But you also can't have a plan without your heart. That plan will not work forever. It'll fall apart sooner rather than later. And so that's why it's that combination of, you said new age, but sort of a spiritual aspect to a very practical coaching perspective.
Well, if I didn't know better, I'd say you guys are unstoppable.
We are. Well, that's actually the origination of when I
was going to ask you.
I had been in private practice for many years and loved it. And I'm trained in other people's stuff and I love it. I mean, got some really good stuff. And I just my Heartset started talking to me. Like I really felt like I had something to offer that was my own, which also brought up all my stuff, like all my fears and worthiness and blah, 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 blah. And when I got still and sat and took 3 deep breaths, our favorite thing, and listened to my heart, what's the one thing that I know, immutable fact about me, us, unstoppable. So if I can show that to other people and other women in particular, that's a life well lived. That's a life. And so, because I did it the hard way, I created great results that left me feeling horrendous. And now I know how to create great results that leave me feeling wonderful. And I harnessed all of that and put it into the content that became Unstoppable You. And that's when Anna came on board and we opened it up to Call Me Unstoppable. And that just opened up all the.
So Anna, what were you doing before you came on board?
I have been a professional dog daycare dog walker for 25 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So before this, I had a car full of muddy dogs. I was taken out to Capitol Forest to run off leash for an hour every day. So that would have probably ended with COVID anyway, but I was sort of segueing out of it because I was tired of cleaning my car, 20 years of cleaning a muddy car. But yeah, I've basically been an entrepreneur working with animals for most of my life. Yeah.
I have a twin sister who now lives in Spokane. And her business before she kind of retired from it was called Joyce's Dogs.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So she was
get it.
Very well known in Seattle for a period of time before she moved to Portland years ago. But she jumped into canine nose work early on. So that's the thing that she keeps doing, and Logan's shaking her head, going, "What?"
I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
Do you know what it is, Anna?
Yes, nose work, as in that's if you want to give your dog a fun new skill to try and learn, that nose work is it sort of channels their ability to use their nose into problem solving, and
Well, that's
it's just
the
like
cutest
if
thing.
you have a gifted child, if you have a gifted dog who's just really, they're not getting enough at school. It's an after school program kind of
An AP program.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, she taught me that it's a competitive sport. And what's really miraculous is that you can actually have aggressive dogs in the class that normally would be aggressive to other dogs, but they get so hyper focused on the competition of nose sniffing that all that stuff kind of goes away. So I think we kind of need that for humans.
I was just trying to make a coaching correlation in my mind. Yeah.
I'll bet you were.
There's something there. There.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks I should go to your website and there'll be a whole thing.
It'll be nose work for humans.
New and improved.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's actually one of the. Can I just say really quickly? One of the things I learned from dogs and love about dogs, that dogs and people are so closely interconnected. Yes. We kind of grew up together evolutionarily. So dogs are so much like us, but they don't have the filter. So dogs that don't like each other, they figure it out. They say, I don't like you either. They ignore each other. If they're being held on leashes and held, you know, away from each other, they'll try to fight. But basically left to their own devices, dogs figure it out. Yep. And I feel like people could use some more of that. Yep. It's like this filter that makes us bite our tongue when we really could say, look, that really upset me that you said that, that kind of thing. So I feel like that also comes into coaching sometimes, the kinds of communication that are more effective than the, you know, the structure that you learned that told you can't criticize someone, or you can't, you can't speak your truth.
Yeah. But the problem with law and rules, but let's just say law, is it takes away the ability for people to be conscious. Yeah, in a sense, because they don't have to think about it. That's the law.
Yes.
You know, so it's like we separate ourselves from interaction and conversation and just kind of working it out like the dogs do.
Right.
When we fall back on quote unquote a law.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we should be lawless. I don't believe that, but you know, it gets a little crazy. So
I just learned a lot from watching dogs interact and how honest they are.
There's a woman I used to work with, Carrie Lake, and she wrote a book called Listen Like a Horse.
Ooh.
And it's subtitled Relationship Without Dominance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't remember what episode on Alternative Health Tools podcast she's on, but incredible. So she was kind of like born with this, she was kind of born and at a very early age was like talking to animals, talking to the trees, talking to nature. And her parents were kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And then it got to a place where they were kind of concerned about it. But she got through that period. But she has this incredible connection with the animal and spirit and plant world and stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh. I want to find that.
Yeah. Okay. So Listen Like a Horse. Carrie Lake, Kerri, last name Lake.com.
Okay.
So
that sounds really good.
Yeah. She's pretty amazing. I have to say that in my life, human development, all that kind of stuff, I've heard people talk about ascended masters and stuff like that, but actually I think she might be an ascending master working on it. She's pretty incredible. And
Legit,
And she's a woman.
Get on.
Yeah. Boy, this podcast went in directions I had no idea.
That's the best kind.
I know. I just really want to make sure you're served well and our audience is served well. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
I think we're served well by people getting a taste of who we are. I honestly, and whether it's private practice or call me unstoppable, like we're what makes it different, if that makes sense. So getting an idea of who we are in addition to what we do, like there's the nuts and bolts of it and all that, but people understanding the chemistry and what happens when Anna and I are with you and supporting you. That's the magic. So I think it's a job well done.
Yeah. We love to laugh, and you're fun to laugh with.
Yeah, you guys are too. Well, I've got a little thing I got from my partner, Stephanie, which is if it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
Right. Yes.
That doesn't mean we avoid stuff that's not fun. It just means, generally speaking, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Podcasting for me is really fun. And actually having a conversation on a podcast for me is really fun. So
You're connected to your Heartset.
yeah,
That's when it's easy. Even when there's work to be done, when it's easy,
yeah.
that's your Heartset. You're aligned.
Well, plus there's a power here too, which is these conversations don't happen in mainstream media at all.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Just another like crazy wonderful thing about podcasts. It's hard for me to believe we didn't have them before. When they started to become more and more, I mean, we had like This American Life and, like radio shows, but the fact that the podcast options now are just, it's just like a miracle to me that you can find something about anything that you're interested in. And you can find these really, the quality of material is just remarkable.
And it's all coming from individuals primarily.
Yeah, people are doing really cool things.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I started in 2005 because I met a guy named Jeffrey Milburn who had an art form called Omni Art. And I was at a party and he told me this story about he's from Boulder, Colorado, and he found himself when he was early 20s and developed this art form. He found himself in New York City at a New Year's Eve party, and it was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll back in the late 60s, early 70s. And he found himself sitting on a couch with another man. He turned, and it was Andy Warhol.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Hello. And they became quick friends. And like all the stuff's going on around him, and Jeffrey explained it as, Andy and I just talked about things that meant things, that had meaning to it. They became good friends and started doing art projects and giving them away to each other as gifts. And Andy was in the process of, Jeffrey, I think this might be the next big art form. And then Andy went in for kind of some sort of exploratory for his kidney or something, and he died and left Jeffrey kind of stranded. Oh, wow. So it's like, I want to podcast this story, because that's all we do in podcasting is tell stories, which we've done wonderfully today. So that got me hooked in podcasting, that it was a story and a content that could be shared with so many different people.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And there's something for everybody. And things like history can be shared in incredible ways. And
Yeah, Dan Carlin has a podcast.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was just thinking of, and I didn't know if I was allowed to say Dan Carlin, but I love Dan Carlin.
Oh yeah. I stopped listening to him years ago. He started years ago. So how long are his episodes?
Oh my gosh, the longest one I think is 13 hours. The one I'm listening to now is 3.
13 hours. But he doesn't publish but once every 3 months or something, right?
Yeah.
Could you? Yeah.
And they're just great. They're great.
Yeah. Yeah. Parting words before we go?
Oh.
This has just been really lovely. Thank you for having us.
It's been lovely. And for everybody listening, you're doing better than you think you are.
Yeah. And you matter.
You matter. Your dreams matter. Yeah. I don't know who needs to hear it, but
I feel like I don't want to stop talking.
All need to hear it.
Do you know the work of Byron Katie?
Oh, do we ever?
I actually use her every morning right now because I need it so much. Yeah, the work. Yeah.
Thework.com for those that don't know about it. It's fabulous. And it's simply really just about questioning those thoughts we have. Can you really know that it's true?
Yep. Yep. And turning it around and realizing that everything around you, it's a projection of yourself. And I use it every morning.
And what about Brene? Brene Brown.
Brene Brown. Well, yeah, I definitely listen to Brene Brown for sure.
Yeah. I love Byron Katie. Byron Katie would be my go-to just because of the simplicity and the work and the like it's just so dang. It doesn't have to be complicated to be powerful, and
and it brings you into kind of a state of grace. I mean, really, that it puts you in a place where you can understand. I mean, I was going to say humility, but it's not humility so much as just feeling connected. In a very deep and powerful way. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we could go on forever, but I can't.
Yeah,
we could.
I just want to say I love you both. I really do.
Oh,
thank you so much. This has been such fun.
Yeah, and I want to do it again.
Yay!
I just also want to mention you're in Olympia, Washington, right?
We are.
The state of Washington.
We are neighbors.
Yeah.
Next door neighbors. Yeah, we live next to each other. And my husband is married, or Logan's husband was my husband's best friend in 7th grade.
Wait, hang on just a minute. What? Unpack that one.
My husband and Logan's husband were best friends in 7th grade.
Oh, that is fabulous.
It is. It's like a little sitcom.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. What's the best way to get in touch with you? I'm going to just say, I'm imagining you just go to callmeunstoppable.com.
Yeah,
just
absolutely. There. Yeah, you can sign up for a newsletter. There's a way to schedule if you're interested in a complimentary coaching session with me. You can do that, or stay in touch on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all the usual places. But start with www.callmeunstoppable.com.
Nice.
Yeah, check out the downloads.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. So thank you very much for being here. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful life.
Back at ya.
Yeah.